another day, another drama at Real Madrid. Dani Carvajal is supposedly angry that he's not playing. Supposedly his team and his people are unhappy with the contract situation at Real Madrid. And yeah, we just can't catch a single break. Us Real Madrid fans, genuinely, why can't we catch a break? Dani Carvajal this and that, Rudiger this and that, injuries and stuff like this, Mbappe, Vinny. Oh my god, can we go a day without some news? Just let me breathe for one day. I open Twitter and I see this. Sources close to Dani Carvajal say that he's angry about not playing, which is fair to say. Yeah, not playing, I get it, you're finally back. But you do have to understand, yeah, Dani Carvajal, I love you. I love everything you did for us, for this club. But your injury record in the past year and a half has been atrocious, okay? So let's get one thing straight. I think not playing in that Valencia game and Jimenez and whatever, Trent getting more minutes than you, I get it completely. A young player is getting his chance, even though I don't particularly agree with Fede Valverde moving into midfield, which we will touch upon later in the video. I get it, you know, we were shouting for Academy to get some minutes, so he's giving minutes to Academy players. Now, Jimenez wasn't particularly bad in this game. And after Trent came on, I thought he had a good game as well. He made some good passes. He wasn't particularly bad in defense. Valencia didn't have anything on his side after he came on. And yeah, but I get he's angry. But let's be real. You have been injured. Your fitness is not the greatest. I know you have just been confirmed finally that you should be fully fit. But once I see you actually play a game of football, I will believe you're fit. I don't believe any physician. I don't believe any doctor anymore. I've seen this all year around with Militao, Trent, Huijsen. They are back. The next game, they get injured. You know, we know this, okay? Us Madrid fans, we are now fully accustomed to players coming back and getting injured right away. Yeah, we have seen it many times before. Now, the next thing I want to touch upon is, Justin, no talks have been held over Dani Carvajal's renewal so far. His contract expires in June. And I want to know your opinion on this as well. People watching, of course, please let me know down below your opinion. Should we re-sign Dani Carvajal? Or should we just let it go? Is it time to let him go? In my opinion, a lot of people are going to be saying that this may be a same situation as Luka Modric. But in my opinion, Dani Carvajal needs to leave at the end of the season just because of his injury record. And let's be honest, that ACL, I know he didn't get it again. I know it's not the Militao situation. He got one ACL and then he came back. But look at the injuries. When you get an ACL, your match fitness, first of all, goes through the window. And your legs just become like jelly. And since that injury, I don't think he has played even 10 games in a row. You can maybe prove me wrong. I don't remember Dani Carvajal returning from the ACL injury and playing 10 games in a row. I don't even mean, starting or just coming off the bench. Give me 10 games coming off the bench. But I haven't seen that. If I'm being honest, I think Dani Carvajal's time at Real Madrid should be done. Real Madrid are maybe going to be looking for a new right back. We will see. But Trent, of course, will be the starter if this happens. But if we get to keep him, I'm just going to entertain that thought for a minute. Why are we keeping Dani Carvajal, my bad, if we didn't keep Luka Modric last year? It just doesn't make any sense. I know he is a legend and I respect him so much for that. But Luka Modric got shipped to AC Milan even though he wanted to stay. And I think, that Real Madrid should have and they would have benefited from keeping Luka Modric way more than from keeping Dani Carvajal this season. So in my opinion, he has to go. Maybe you have a different opinion, let me know down below. I just think it's time. Yeah, his contract is not the lowest paying as well, and his injury record is just too much. We don't need to keep these players when they have this injury record. That's the different part about Luka Modric as well. I think Luka Modric is one of the fittest players actually, like, of all time. I remember like 2 injuries or 3 injuries maybe in his whole career from Luka Modric's career, So I just think it's a completely different situation. Maybe you think otherwise. Maybe we should keep Dani Carvajal. That brings me on to my next point, which is, of course, that Fede Valverde is going to be considered a midfielder. As we can see here, the return of key players will not change Alvaro Arbeloa's midfield selection. Fede Valverde will be used in midfield, and with Trent and Carvajal returning, they will be, of course, used as right backs, as I think this is what it's implying. Now, do I like this decision? Yes and no. It's a bit 50-50 in my mind, because I loved Fede Valverde in the first seasons as a center midfielder, you know, under Carlo Ancelotti, and even some games last season, you could just see he was carrying us. He was carrying us, especially with his goals and his engine. Yeah, he's not this tempo controller. He's not gonna keep the ball for midfield. He's not that. But he is like a Steven Gerrard type of midfielder. That is a game winner from midfield. Once again, he doesn't work in every formation and in every tactic. We have seen it many, many times under Xabi Alonso. At the start of the season, this season, we have seen it, especially if he started in the midfield in Xabi Alonso's systems. He didn't work at all. He was being criticized every single week under Xabi Alonso, and I didn't like him at all. I have to be honest, I loved Fede last year under Ancelotti. He was one of the only positives, I would say, from this team. But this season, maybe it's just a change of system. Maybe it's the responsibility of the captain's armband. But I have to be honest, if we keep playing Fede in the same systems that Xabi Alonso already played him in, I don't think he has a place in this midfield. Once again, if Arbeloa decides to stick with the 4-1-2-1-2, where there is 4 midfielders, which we have completely seen that Fede Valverde can easily fit in and can easily be one of the best midfielders in the world, I have absolutely no problem him being a midfielder. I love Fede as a midfielder. I think he has a trait that is so rare these days, which is actually scoring from midfield, long shots, that thunder of a shot, you know. It's missing out, you know. Szoboszlai is like the only one doing it still on the highest level. I think Fede is a one-of-one midfielder, but he needs players around him that make him complete as well. That's why him and Cruz and Camavinga or Tchouaméni worked so well. Because Camavinga, Tchouaméni, they are, you know, the destroyers. They defend, but they are okay on the ball, you know, they can still do their part. Fede is the runner, he can score you goals, he can defend, he can slot in as a right back, he's the versatile one. He makes the flipping other team run for their money. He makes, you know, he punishes the other team if they are not on Fede Valverde and he has a good day with shooting. You better be surprised and lucky if he doesn't score that goal. You know, this season, once again, he doesn't have that confidence. But last year, you know, Rayo Vallecano and these games, Athletic Bilbao, he scored so many important goals for this team. But he needed somebody behind him. And that somebody behind him last season was either Ceballos, which is a completely different profile to Tchouaméni, or Tchouaméni after he became once again good, you know, after all that situation where he got booed at the Bernabeu and he literally revitalized his career from playing that center back, which was atrocious in my opinion last year from Tchouaméni. But Fede Valverde needs a system that is good for him. You know, he needs to fit the system. He doesn't fit every system. We have to get that through our head. So I am a bit 50-50 with this. I think he can work there, but once again, let me know what do you think about this. And that brings me once again to my next point. Can Fede Valverde actually be the right back with Trent Alexander-Arnold? He can be in the midfield, he can be as a second right back, I have no problem with that. But Madrid have came out that they are possibly looking for a right back. Now, I understand this decision, but should we really be looking at a right back with this current squad when most of our center backs are either completely finished, too young, on the other hand, with Asensio and Huijsen, or they are just too injury prone? Eder Militao, I think he's one of the best center backs in the world. On his day, he's one of the best center backs in the world. Too injury prone. Rudiger, For me, he's past his prime fully, and he's too injury prone. Alaba, not a bad center back on the ball. I don't think he particularly can defend, and he's finished injury-wise. Asensio and Huijsen are, once again, they are too young, and Huijsen seems to be injury-prone again. I think we should be focusing 100% on a center-back first and a midfielder first. Even a number 9, in my opinion, is above a right-back in the pecking order for this Real Madrid team. Once again, I think Real Madrid will go for a center-back first, but if we go for a right-back as a second choice signing, I just don't get it. I think a midfielder suits like our problems way more. Like Angelo Stiller, Adam Wharton, maybe even Anderson. I don't know. Like you could throw in a Vitinha. I know it's probably not happening, but I would still rather try and sign a midfielder of Angelo Stiller's, than flipping Pedro Porro, Frimpong, Livramento, Wanderson. I know these players are good, but we definitely do not need Jeremy Frimpong for this right back position. At all. Yeah, if I'm signing another right back, he needs to be sound defensively and, okay going forward. Because we already have one of the best attacking right backs, of all time, genuinely, which is Trent Alexander-Arnold, playmaking-wise, especially. Pedro Porro, I'd like at Madrid. I don't think he's particularly the best right back, so I do think he would honestly take a sub spot, on the bench for Real Madrid. But once again, how much would he be? How much money would he be for Tottenham to let one of their, I think, only good players in that defense? Because I think Romero is so overrated, in my opinion. Too expensive, once again. Van de Ven, I think he's going to be too expensive. I think that's their best defender. And Udogie, too injury prone. I don't feel like we need to be signing a Premier League player because they are going to be too overpriced. With Porro, I like his profile. I do think he is a good player. But how much would he be? If Tottenham let him go for 30 million, 40 million, I still don't think it's warranted to be going over a midfielder in this Real Madrid squad. Frimpong, I don't like at all this rumor because he just came into Liverpool. He would be so much money and he doesn't fit our problems at all. We have Trent, one of the best attacking fullbacks already. Why bring in someone that is even more attacking than Trent? It just doesn't make sense. Which Tino Livramento and Wanderson, I think, make way more sense than these two signings. And in my opinion, Wanderson would be the cheapest. I think AS Monaco would let somebody like Wanderson go for around 30, 40 million. Which I think it's pretty good because his age, and his form right now is really great. But for me, the best signing here from these four, by the way, these are not my ideal right-back signings. I think Tino Livramento is one of the most underrated fullbacks in the world. And if he would be the second choice fullback or even the first choice fullback, I would be pretty okay with it. Once again, what about his price? Newcastle, they need FFP money. They have always had problems with FFP. What's his contract situation? How much money would he cost? I don't know. That's my point with these signings, especially with these three signings from the Premier League. I think Wanderson would be the cheapest. But Tino Livramento, I think, fits the most. He's English as well. And I think he just fits our system the best. If you want something so similar to Trent, you would go for Jeremy Frimpong or somebody more attacking. But of course, I would think that you want the polar opposites. You don't want, not polar opposites, but you want something a little bit different, If you want to change up something, if you want to go more defensively, maybe sub out Trent, or if you want to, go to a team where you need to defend more, maybe in the UCL, you bring in Tino Livramento. What about his price? That's another story for another day as well. I don't want to be discussing prices with, every single player, and if even we are going to be looking at these players, that's my point. If I had to sign one of these four players, it would be Tino Livramento. So underrated defensively, on the ball, attacking wise. He can do anything. And he is doing it at the highest level in the biggest league in world football. So yeah, even in the Champions League, from what I have seen from him, he's not a bad defender. I don't think he's better than Trent. That's why I think he would be perfect for this Madrid team. But do we really need to be signing that right back position? Let me know in the comments. I don't think so. I think a midfielder and a center back is way more important. Now, last thing I want to mention is, of course, Why? Once again, I am mentioning this, that I think Trent, for me, is a game changer for Real Madrid. And Real Madrid, if this is of course 100% true, we will never know. Real Madrid view Trent as a game changer. I completely agree. The club has worked hard with the player following his injuries, which I, knock on wood, he is not injured anymore this season. Please, God protect him if there is any, bro. The analysis team has highlighted this, his immense importance to the team. I mean, I could be in the analysis team and say that, and people would believe me. Generational fullback. He makes the game go from 1 point defensively to another point attacking wise. And in this Madrid team, that is so important. I talked about it yesterday in my match reaction from the game against Valencia, of course, which, once again, he comes on 30 seconds on the pitch, he makes a line-breaking pass, and then 15 seconds later, he makes a cross from one side of the pitch to another, and we are once again going from defense to attack in maybe 3 seconds. That's what Trent does on the pitch. His set-piece taking ability is like so underrated. He can score goals for you, he can create goals for you, and another thing I want to mention, his defensive ability will not be as highlighted as it was in the Premier League. Premier League has way more directness. It's way more challenging to defend in the Premier League because these teams play way higher, they press higher, and in my opinion, Premier League have way more quality wingers. If you can name me maybe 10 quality wingers in La Liga, you know, from Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid maybe now have Lookman, and some people like Zaragoza and these guys that can do something on the... You can find 10 wingers, quality wingers, at Manchester City and Liverpool. And there's many other players that are way direct and they are better on 1v1s in the Premier League. So I think Trent will be a huge part of this Real Madrid team. Once again, it comes down to his injury record. I hope he can stay fit, and I hope he is the first choice right back next year and for the remainder of this season as well. I do hope, if there is a possibility to sign some of these players, I will be completely fine with it. But are they my priority signing for this Real Madrid team, which we have seen needs somebody in midfield that can control tempo, is way better at receiving the ball, and connects the defense to the attack way better than anybody else, because nobody is doing it. Tchouaméni is not doing it, Camavinga is not doing it, Fede Valverde is not doing it, Jude Bellingham and Arda Güler are way up there, so I'm not even gonna speculate that Arda should be playing as a 6. It's just stupid, in my opinion, to go for a right back instead of a midfielder. Now, I will make a video, I don't know, maybe tomorrow or the next day, about my top 10 signings for this Real Madrid team. There will be a lot of center backs and a lot of midfielders as well. But if you want me to touch up on this and maybe, you know, leave some suggestions down below as well, please do. Please like this video. And if you enjoyed, of course, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next upload as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the top 10 or in another video as well. Thank you so much. Peace out.